All right, welcome to another podcast, the Straight Talking Property podcast from Wealth and Success Academy. And we've got Brett Allegra Wood online, who's still in Singapore enjoying the Friday night darkness, I suppose it is at the moment.
Yep.
Hello,
Definitely
Brett.
Dark.
Yep.
All done night. Yeah, good. Yeah. So, 8 p.m. here.
Still focusing on repetition is everything with your maths. And so well done, mate. You're doing well. And we've got Jimmy London in sunny Whitstable. How you going, Jimmy?
How we doing?
And we've got Emmanuel Ezekiel ringing his phone and giving sign language to say, I'll be back in 1 second. So,
oh, man.
listen, what we want to do is this podcast is about creating some honesty and just getting real about what's going on in the world of, and I mean the world, because we've got Brett, we've got guys that we know all over the world. Brett's on here from Singapore, so the other side of the world. And we just want to give everyone a good, honest rundown of how things are, both due to coronavirus, what we see going on at the moment, and how we see it changing if and when, and the hardships that we are at the moment experiencing. And let's just be real, because I know that there are people out there who are experiencing this, and they may be thinking, "Oh shit, is it just me or not?" So let's open up our minds, open up our hearts, and let's just give a real good rundown of what's going on. And we can include students of ours, our own developments. I know Emmanuel wants to share a fair bit about his developments. I want to share a bit about service accommodation and HMOs. Jimmy will do the same. And Brett, you can share what's going on with, you got 1,200 odd apartments around the world and properties. Yeah, sales. So, Brett, why don't we kick off with you, mate? Give us a little synopsis of what's going on around sort of Far East Asia at the moment. But you also obviously got a lot going on in London as well.
So I think for me, it's a tale of two cities, and it's a tale of two businesses. I've got the sales business, which is pretty much doing shit. Excuse me, I'm not allowed to say that, but anyway, it's there's still guys on furlough.
Don't say shit, mate. Don't say shit.
I know. Yeah. The sales haven't really picked back up, although to be fair, we've still been making sales throughout. So it's not that they've totally non-existent, but we're certainly not back up. And what we've seen is now with this impending potential lockdown, things are, people are taking a bit of more time now. So that's the sort of sales side. The property management side is booming. It's doing really well.
Before we go on, mate, just before we go on, for those who may have not listened to us before, just explain sales in the concept of what? Apartments, properties, what are you selling?
So pretty much
what's the company?
New build off plan, so it's called Gladfish, gladfish.com basically. And so it's probably it's probably ticking along, let's say 20% what it was, 30%. But then we have every month that can jump up, but effectively I'd say 20%, which means that business is losing money on a month-to-month basis. The property management business, we had a massive month. We had, probably a 60% rise just in move-ins, move-outs, and all sorts of things. And so actually, it was a massive month last month. August. Sorry, which August is normally a bit slower. It's busy for the move-ins and move-ins out, but it's really weird this week. Yeah. So, but it's interesting. The tale of two cities is that I live in Singapore. Singapore has actually contained the virus, and it is now back to where it was. In fact, you go to the shopping centre. It's busy. You've got to line up to get food. You've got to everything's gone back to normal except for having to check in and check out of everywhere and wear a mask. Apart from that, and not allowed to be out past 10 o'clock drinking, or 10:30 drinking. So I think there is light at the end of the tunnel for if you are moving into a lockdown. Obviously, that doesn't help your businesses that are not doing too well. So I've opened my businesses up. We took another office in London in August. So we took that risk, and now we'll see whether that pays off or not if we go into a second lockdown and how long that takes. So, that's sort of, it's not all bad. I have multiple streams of income, so I've got that going for me. But to be fair, not as many people are not paying their rent as could have happened. So that's a positive.
Okay, well, that's good. but we do know that you managed that extremely well before.
100%.
You know, you just tell us exactly what you did, because obviously there's people out there who they might have 2 properties, 3 properties, 4, 5, 10, 20, or whatever it might be. They might have one, but just share how you managed that and how you avoided the big drop off from the cliff, if you like.
Yeah, so I think we did a lot of things very early on. So I sort of, watched where the market was going. We got in there, and if people were late, we contacted them and we actually got hold of them, and actually we made it as simple as possible for them to pay their rent. So we negotiated with them, we mediated with them, we did all those sort of things very early on, rather than sitting there and going, oh, they're not paying, this is terrible. And I think that's really paid off. And make no mistake, the government has helped that too with their assistance programs. But it really has helped getting on top of things early than leaving it. And rather than
so you didn't react. You didn't react to the badness. No. You got out there and Okay, good.
We did.
All right. Well, that's good, mate. Well done. And that just proves, what if you tackle it the right way and you're professional. I mean, my wife did the same thing with her nursery. She tackled it head on. She went on radio stations, went on TV, asking for assistance and this, that. The government came out, they reacted, and now. We are currently, within the next 4 weeks, we'll have a new building completed on one to increase because of turning people away. So the importance, the very important thing that you said, so many people get into property and think, property is it, it's the be end and end all. It's not. Property is there for investment. You can get some income, but you've got to have other things as well. Whether that be e-commerce, sales, whether you do property management, whether you've got an online business, whether, like my wife, whether you've got nurseries or pubs or hotels like me and Jimmy, you've got to have various different business types, because if one gets affected, maybe the other one will thrive. And we've seen that. There's peaks and troughs for everything. And as soon as it's over, those that have thrived will probably just come back to normal, which is still a healthy business. Those that have been hit, if you can survive it, they will come back with a tenfold hit, because people will want to get stuck back into it. But by saying that, I think that there will be a lot of changes in the world as well. I mean, I'm doing a lot of work on e-commerce at the moment to set up a lot of e-commerce, if you like, income and that type of stuff, because simply I am reacting to how the world is reacting to lockdown and to these type of things. And who knows, there may be another one in a year, there may be another one in 10 years, 100 years. Nobody knows. We don't know. And if it's politically, it's been undermined politically because of what China's doing with America, with, all of the so-called, trade agreements, whatever, who knows? No one knows, and we don't want to get into that. However, what that means, if that is part of it, it could happen again in a year. It could happen in 10, we don't know. So I want to be secure, knowing that I've got an income that's going to thrive in those times. You know what I mean?
Same.
So property is great for the long term, for the investment. It's always going to be there, and people are going to live in properties. However, what I've seen in this COVID is that income from service accommodation has been hit. I mean, same as hotels, have been whacked because we've had to close. Pubs, we've had to close. Only now are we seeing a turnaround. Jimmy and I, for our hotel, we're getting bookings in. However, I had a chat with a guy this morning on our private WhatsApp group. He's in Newcastle. Even over the summer in COVID-19, he has managed to be 80% full. So he has an occupancy rate of 80% in his service apartments in Newcastle, which is amazing. It's there are people folding their apartments and that type of stuff. However, the conversation this morning is Newcastle is in a new lockdown. His bookings that he had have all been cancelled, and now he's down to zero. So now we're working out, right now, what do we do? We've got to work out different ways. Do we go on spare room? Do we open it up as a 2-room HMO? What do we do? Do we put it on ASTs? ASTs could be too risky because of the whole, we're going to sit tight and we won't get evicted, although that's ended now. It still takes 6 months. So, you're kind of between a rock and a hard place. Do you take on an AST and take someone in? It's going to cost you more money because you've got somebody in there who's not actually paying the bills or paying the rent. So it is a freaking tough world at the moment. And this is why, like you, I've always looked at different different sort of avenues, different streams of income to try and balance things out when some things are good and some things are bad. So, Jimmy, what are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, so exactly what you just said there, Ash, in the serviced accommodation side of things. We've obviously, as you know, got a hotel next to Tottenham's football ground. Now, that for us was, you know, a massive kick in the teeth through lockdown. We tried so hard to try and work with local test centres, nurses, but Premier Inn had already covered that, and you know, the smaller operators like us, you know, we just got left basically. So we was doing a little bit with some engineers that was working at the hospital, but nothing, you know, just not really even covering the bill. So that side of it, I want to speak honestly that, you know, we've not earned any money since the business has actually opened up as a hotel. We opened on the 14th of March 2020. On the 16th of March, we're in total lockdown. So it's been a hard struggle. Now, looking at what we're doing now the grounds, you know, the football's back playing at the grounds. I've been tapping into the groundsman now, and bearing in mind there's not one groundsman. You can imagine there's like a team of them. And they're now just in talks with them, taking rooms a night before a game and a night after a game, and obviously on game night as well. And that's pretty much taking us up to 60% occupancy at the hotel. Now, with the way that the service accommodation side, like what you just said there, Ash, you've looking at, right, you chatting about that student in Newcastle. I've actually put a spare room ad on, and I spoke to you about this the other week, for the hotel. Now, I checked them this morning, and there's 6 people interested, and I only put one room up, charging $950, all bills included, as a little sort of self-contained studio, because they're all en suite. You know, we've put a little elf kitchen in there. And we won't put them on an AST. We'll book them through the system to get around certain licensing laws. But that's an alternative of what we're trying to do in within the hotel side of things. And I've even done that with my other hotel as well, one I've got just outside Lewisham, a place called Lee. I've done that. I've got 2 rooms that I've rented out for 3 months. Okay, you know, that again, they're only paying sort of $800 per month, but 2 rooms at $800, that's £16. So that's a big chunk of my rent straight away. So I know that I've you know, sort of molded it to a point where I'm not putting money in the money out my own pocket into the business. So that's what I've done on the hotel side of things. But yeah, the pubs as it stands at the moment, I've got friends that's got pubs. You know, it's hard out there at the minute. Since they bought in this, not everyone wants to wear a mask and go out to a restaurant and be told to sit down, stand up, can't go there, put your mask on and go to the toilet. And it's quite annoying. So food industry business in that has massively dropped. He's bought in the takeaway scenario now and jumping on Deliveroo. So that's another way that the business has been structured in trying to pay bills and get afloat. And I know, like you with the nurseries, at what you're doing now, as you said that you've got another building in place, and so you've that side of it is booming, I suppose. Even if parents are at home, they don't need the kids around, because, you know, we've chatted about.
Oh yeah, we're all parents, right?
Well, it's hard. It is hard working from home. You know, I put a lock on my office door, and now half knows how to undo the bloody lock from the outside. So that was a good move. So yeah,
I'm
so
sure your
that's
wife has taught the kids.
That's it. So that's how I've sort of restructured and looked at where the business is. You know, they're a good 12 to 18 months from coming back to how it should be with the bookings coming through. So that's how I've moulded the business models that we've got, just to try and stay where we're not putting our hand in our pocket. So I hope that's answered questions.
And I think, you know, mate, it's awesome. So I think people out there listening, you can obviously understand that we are not just property people. We are business people on different levels, and we all have experience in different sort of types of business. And obviously, Emmanuel's probably our number one guy for developments. And I was having a chat to Emmanuel yesterday, and, you know, Emmanuel said to me, look, and Emmanuel may drop in and drop out because he's currently completing on another deal today, I think. Well, I know, but I'm not sure if that is today, which is what I mean, I think, and I'm sure that's what it is. He'll let us know in a minute. But, you know, the last property crash was 2007, and we were comparing it back to then with new developments, and in some cases, it's actually worse for developers now than it was in 2007. So, Emmanuel, without further ado, chuck some skin in the game, mate. Let's hear about what's going on.
Well, it'd be fair to say this is probably the worst period I've ever experienced in my whole life in regards to all areas to do with business. So Brett probably knows himself that I'm quite heavily invested in a hotel group. They were 23 hotels. Most of them got into administration. They're doing a restructure of 9 hotels and just hoping that somehow we can salvage that before they go into complete bankruptcy. Brett's been involved in that in one way or another, so he knows what I'm talking about. It's been going on for quite some time. I made some quite large cash available to help them in different areas to acquire hotels, pay payroll, and it just before COVID, and then COVID hit. They've still got 1 or 2 issues in regards to their PDQ and credit facilities. They're holding on to their cash and not releasing it, which is making it even worse for the business. So there's a few things going on in that direction. In terms of the developments, you're right.
23 down to 9 hotels.
Yeah.
That's significant, man.
Yeah.
That's big. Not just in money invested and money and income lost. That's big as in jobs as well, right? Which is happening all over the world. The amount of people being made redundant, or even if they were just on contract, they now longer have an income. And we're talking about the good and bad that we've got, but it spills out into the greater economy, the greater workforce. Is that 23 hotels? Let's say a minimum of 10 staff per hotel, and you've lost 10. You've probably lost 130 people, staff. 130 people are no longer getting paid, and that just trickles out to the rest of the economy.
I honestly think the government have no clue as to what they're doing now. Although they put some good support mechanisms in place in regards to the economy and who are the companies and the businesses going to help the economy. It is the hospitality sector. It is the restaurants. It is hotels. It is pubs and so forth. And to actually close it the way they've done, which is completely unscientifically calculated. So all of this is based on math. And the math says now people are getting COVID. They're not dying from it, even though they're getting more people being tested. Why are more people getting it? Because more people are being tested. Simple math, right? But if you look at the actual death rate and who are actually dying from COVID, it's a very different statistic. So there's lots of things that the government could be doing and should be doing creatively. And, for instance, the hotel sector, if the people that are most vulnerable are 65, 70, that are not in nursing homes, why not fill up all the hotels in each area with those people, keep them on lockdown for the next 3 to 6 months, have all the food and drink delivered to them, keep them safe, keep the economy going. There's so many different things the government could be doing. I looked at the news last week, all these students that have COVID, guess what? They're at the window laughing and joking. There's absolutely sweet FA wrong with them. Yeah. They get it like the common cold. This whole political and scaremongering statistics and how they're showing the numbers, as far as I'm concerned, is just bollocks.
Do you know what made me laugh? What
the majority? Yeah.
What the government said as well is that I've got loads of friends that are musicians, and they blatantly said, "Oh, it's time that you learn another trade." Like, how bad is that? It's like been musicians all their life, spent their whole life savings on everything, creating bands, buying all the best equipment, and then just learn a new trade. It's like.
So in that case, I'm going to give my old mate Liam Gallagher a call and say, "Look, mate, you've got to find yourself a new trade, mate. Things are getting tough." Same with you, Kylie Minogue.
We have to live and adapt to COVID, just the same way nature adapts to changing conditions. We need to adapt and change and work within the COVID, not to actually close down and give up. Because that's what it looks like happening. Areas are just being closed down. They're not being created outside the box. I think Jimmy sent something the other day, which I thought was fantastic. Restaurants that have hotels or rooms, you book for an evening meal, and they give you the hotel room. Fantastic. It's some really creative ways of doing stuff. And the government need to get some business people in to be creative, because they're certainly not being creative.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right there, Manuel, because, you know, us four all think outside the box and look at how we can structure the businesses that we've got. Yeah, okay, they've been affected by COVID. Now, how can we mould the business into COVID friendly and make it work? And, you know, we are doers, but I know some people that I know that's got restaurants and stuff, and they just want to give up now. And it's so sad that they're family run businesses that have not got the drive and the energy to take it, you know, out of the bubble, the scaremonger bubble that we're at, and try and mould it into something that can work. But
the key there, Jimmy, is the energy.
Yeah,
They just do not have the energy to go on. This has been going on for 6 months, and I can tell you this, you know, we're renovating our house at the moment, and we're living in the bloody thing while we're doing it. As much as it's fun, a lot of the time, it is stressful, even though you don't realise it's stressful. I find it, you know, it takes a bit for me to get stressed, but I'll tell you what, I don't think I've slept probably all through for at least a week and a half. And it starts to grind on you, it starts to get to you, you start to lose focus. And, you know, today I thought I'd have a couple of hours nap, and I didn't, because the kitchen was getting delivered. I've got plasterers in there. There's something constant going on. And then you've got your businesses you've got to run, you've got to do this. You know, thanks to you, Jimmy, you know, you're pushing the wealth of success. You're doing a lot behind the scenes and that type of stuff, so that we can still, you know, create, you know, opportunities for other people to help them. It's not so much for us. And, you know, it does, you don't realise stress creeps up on you. I mean, Emmanuel, the stress that you're going through at the moment, mate, if this is the worst you've seen the property and the business and everything in your entire lifetime, that's a massive statement. And just on that, tell us what's going on with the development world, mate, because there's people out there who I'm sure who are losing tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, because they too have just lost the desire to go on, and they're just saying, look, stuff it, I'll fold it, I'll wait until COVID's finished, I'll do something else. You're not one of those people. So give us some inspiration. Start from the bottom and pull us up.
Well, the truth is, depending where you are in the development cycle will determine how COVID is affecting you. So if your developments are completed and they're houses or they're flats with outside area, you're probably doing okay, you're selling them and you're coming out. So those of us that are still in the ground building, where we've had lenders reduce their loan to value covenant, which basically means they change the loan to value from 65 down to 55 or 60, means you've got to now put in another £100,000 or £200,000 with your own capital. Most developers, because they're spread very thin, don't have those funds available. So what the banks are really doing is putting you into bankruptcy early, because you don't have the funds. They take over the scheme, they take the money back that they need, because you've already got equity in the deal. So different people are affected in different way. I've got a couple of different projects where in the same position. The lenders have reduced the loan to value covenant. They haven't taken any heed from the government to stop interest during the COVID period. So we've still had to pay, in addition to the reducing the loan to value covenant, £100,000 or £200,000, is still increasing the interest. On a couple of my projects, because of my financial connections, I've been lucky enough to get a couple of CBIL loans. I've got another one that's hoping to go through this afternoon. I'm right in the middle of it now. I've got emails going back and forward as we're speaking. So that's up to the maximum limit I've been able to get, which is 5 million worth of CBIL loans. And hopefully that will steady the ship a little bit on the development side and give us a chance to regroup. A couple of good bits of news yesterday. One of my projects, I had 2 reservations at full asking price on my one in Acton. And I had a call from one of the agents from the Evening Standard saying that they saw our development and they want to make it a feature for free on the Evening Standard. So that's going to be coming out shortly. So a couple of bits of good news, but I've got this loan which I'm stressing about massively to try and get over the line this afternoon. That's 2.6 million to get restructured under CBIL loan, give me a year's interest free, which changes things around quite considerably and hopefully just get us back on track again.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening out there who is interested in investing in property at the moment, whether that be investing in your current schemes or other schemes that they've been brought to them, what sort of advice would you have to them? Because I know there are still a lot of people out there who rely on their property courses, selling property courses. It seems to be their sole income. A lot of people out there are running property courses, but they're
Can
not
I answer
in
the question?
property.
Question a minute. I've got my lawyers on the line. I need to take this call. I'm just going to jump on.
Go. So Brett, maybe you can chip on that while we're waiting for Emmanuel. I mean,
actually, so it's interesting because one of the things I've been doing, obviously over here, I can't fly back to the UK yet. Well, technically I can, but I think the wife would divorce me and the kids would probably not have me back. But
if you need a hotel, Brett, I've got one you can stay at.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, I've got a place in Newcastle as well, and Lincoln. Yeah, but no. But so what I've been doing is using my network over here, and there's huge interest from over here to invest in the UK because the UK is still seen as a flight to safety, as a secure bet, as a great place to invest. All this sort of stuff's happening around the world, and it's affecting everywhere. Well, maybe not equally, but it is affecting everyone. But they're still looking at the UK, and whether that be our Hong Kong investors, our Singapore investors. So there's a lot of interest in not so much them building stuff, but certainly funding that sort of stuff. So that is quite good to look overseas, But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So obviously, there's people out there, like I said, who, and this, like Jimmy and I were talking the other day. There are some. Well, I'll say it how it is. There are some real dickheads out there who have decided that they've got 5 minutes experience in property and they're starting up online courses. And, we've had phone calls, Jimmy's had phone calls from people, and we've decided to shop them, send them our details, what is it you're offering, just to find out what's going on. And I tell you what, some of the crap, I think I knew more about property than what they do now before I knew anything about property, if that makes sense. And, it's bloody daylight robbery because they're charging thousands for this type of thing, and they are given almost like F all real advice. I mean, would you agree with that, Jimmy? I mean, you've shopped
since through lockdown and that, and again getting back to moulding our business into COVID. Now we done our one-to-ones, and I still do the odd one-to-one here and there, and still working with students and that. But the whole point of registering with all these different online courses, I wanted to see what people was offering. And you're right, Ash. These are people that have got one or two properties and then think they're property experts. I'm learning every single day.
Some don't have any.
Yeah, and it's just, it is bad. Like, one of them, I could hardly understand what she was saying on the phone. She's trying to get a little, not aggressive, but trying to lay it down to me. And I was just pretending I was, I've not really, don't really know too much about property, and just tell me what it was. And straight away, they're trying to sell you stuff before you've even literally spoke to them 10 minutes on property. So, this is for people listening. Just be careful if you are looking to get into property. Look at people's background. Look at what they've done. You would never go to a fat gym instructor to train you. That's my idea of a trainer.
I think one of my big things with this whole game is that because it's a cyclical in nature property, if you get someone who's only been in property for 5 years, they haven't lived through a recession like this. So their strategy, their advice, based on that. Whereas you've been in someone who's been in 20 years, like I've been 25 years. I've been in Australia recession, the last recession, and now this recession. And so a lot of the strategy and the stuff that we do is about how to deal through this and how to be through this, But it's so dangerous, and it's so dangerous because these are new people who are just starting out, and they think they're getting they're doing the right thing by getting education, and actually they're just walking into. Right? No,
So I think people out there like Ash, you've been working on the e-commerce side of stuff. We're putting together a course that is telling you the whole ins and outs, the pros, the cons, the good, the bad. Because when people do these courses, they don't tell you all the bad stuff. Now, I've lived through the bad stuff. I've dealt with so many tenant issues over the years. Unfortunately, I've had 2 people pass away. I've had to deal with mental health with tenants, evictions, and they don't tell you all this side of stuff. So make sure that whoever you get trained by, or whatever line of whatever strategy you want to go down, service accommodation development, HMO, just make sure that whoever it's with, that you've got their track record, and that you really look into their background. So
100%.
Yeah, and just on that, the reason that Jimmy and I are spending a bit of time now on putting our courses online is because we've been having to push back our courses, because we only have 6 people at the moment, but we don't even want 2 people in the room with us, because we've got kids. We don't want to take that risk. We don't want to give that risk to other people, and it's very hard to negotiate with hotels at the moment. So we've decided that we don't want a small room of people. We don't want to jeopardize anyone's health. So people are still coming to us and say that we still want to learn, because we want to be ready, like cocked, gun ready to fire the trigger once this COVID finishes. And so we said, okay, fair enough. And we've turned away probably 25, 30 people in the last 2 months, which is not a lot of people, but it is enough. And we said, look, what we'll do is, and just lady this morning ordered the course again. I said, look, I'm not running the course until at least January. And she said, well, can you do it online? So it's because of this, we've got the demand to go online. So Jimmy and I are going to do an online course. We're going to put it together. We're going to do tours of our properties. We're going to make it real. We're going to give you the ins and outs, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and everything in between. And we'll launch that probably within the next 3 to 4 weeks. And people can go on to this system. We've got a system, it's called Teamer. So you go on there and basically you buy it, and you don't have to listen to it all at once. You can do a little segment at a time. If you want to jump to the end, jump to the middle, jump back to the start. If you're doing something, as you're going along, and
it's
you've
a
got
better way of training, to be honest, Ash, as
well.
I'm one of these people that I have to listen to things through things 3 or 4 times. I don't know what Brett's like, or I have to be shown it. So with an online course, it's good because you can stop, you can go back, and then you can write down, you can make notes. You've not got your trainer going on to the next slide and the next slide, and that's a thing that when we do a day's training is so much to get in that day, and you can't keep going back and back and back and explaining with it. So I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, and with that, there will be people who still want mentoring, and we will do mentoring. It's not something that we're going to try and flog that you need, because the fact is that you will have this online system. You will be able to go back to it whenever you want, whenever you need. So you'll have us there forever in the day, 24/7, if you like. However, there are certain people who do want that contact. They do want that phone call. They do want that video. So we'll just offer a weekly webinar for an hour or 2 where we'll do Q&A for that. So, that'll be something that we'll offer. It's not going to be stupid money, just in sort of, I suppose, in receipt of our time is what you'll pay for, and that's it. And it'll be Jimmy and myself. So we think that that's probably the fairest way to do things and to get people the right knowledge, because we are so fed up with people coming to us. It's not that we're fed up with them coming to us. We're fed up with them coming to us with the information that they've been taught, which is absolute shit. It's completely outdated. It's not even up to COVID sort of levels, time scales. It's even pre-2007 crash. It's ridiculous. They've done a course, I think, 10 years ago and thought, yeah, we can teach it now. I think Emmanuel's back, so let's just go back over to Emmanuel. How you going, mate?
Yeah, I just had a phone call from the lawyers. Just need to get a few bits and pieces over the line to try and get completion done today.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good luck, mate.
Listen, mate. Good luck. Our prayers, our hopes, everything are with you.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. So, yeah.
Knowing you, I'm sure you'll get it done.
Well, I'm not going to say anything until it's done.
No, well, let's not release any bad omens. So any advice out there, mate, for developers coming into the world now? We were just talking on courses and this sort of stuff. People are getting taught stuff now that's 10 years out of date at least.
Yeah, I would say there's quite a lot of lessons to be learned from this. So first and foremost, no man is an island, and having partners that you can rely upon and trust is really important. Having partners that you can only rely upon and trust that also have funds available, that when the bank pulls in the loan to values and reduces it and increases various bits, you have the financial ability to weather the storm. I would certainly say, without the contacts I have and the people that I'm business with, that I would really be well and gone under the water, finished, without that help and support right now. So a lot of people think development's an easy business. It certainly isn't. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's the hardest discipline of all the disciplines in property. And you need to make sure you've got the right margins. And unfortunately, agents don't give a hoot how much money you make. They're only interested in selling. So, and vendors only want the highest price. So it's really important that you get your numbers right. And if we hadn't got our numbers right with all of this, we would certainly be suffering, because we had the right profit margin. We might not make any money on these projects, but we certainly won't be losing money. And by having that margin in there allows us to do that. You know, at the moment, it's all about self-preservation. It's about making sure that you can stay to get your act back together, so when things start changing, you can start mobilizing. So at the moment for me is to consolidate everything I have, to stabilize the ship, and come out as, you know, a lot of people are going to suffer. Just the case of how much you suffer and how much of the storm you can weather. Yeah. So, you know, I'm using all of my knowledge, my contacts of over 30 years to get me over this, you know, and my background in finance as a mortgage broker, having a large mortgage company, has certainly been helping me. My membership to my associations with Developers Boardroom, Trusted Land, all the contacts I have is certainly allowing me to navigate through this very murky waters. And I'm not out of the woods yet, but I'm 2/3 of the way there. If this one goes through, it will reset the clock for me for the next 12 to 18 months. So, yeah, it's been a tricky time. It's been a difficult time. And I've said this many times before. If you think the cost of good advice is expensive, try the cost of bad advice. And I didn't go for the best advice I should have done on these projects when I set out, and I'm suffering because of it. So even though I give that advice, I didn't take it fully this time round. I made a couple of grave errors, and I'll learn from that mistake.
Yeah.
Well, it's valuable experience, buddy. Valuable experience.
I think one of the important notes here too is that just because, you know, we're sitting here talking to you, doesn't mean that we don't make mistakes, and doesn't mean that we don't stuff things up and we don't, you know, but actually the one thing we are is very creative about how we solve problems. And I think that's, you know, that's one of the keys. You know, we all fuck up.
And you know what? I mean, we all do make mistakes, you know, and, you know, if I was in a development, I would want someone like Emmanuel in my corner helping me fix those mistakes, because he goes through it in a methodical process. And I know that he won't give up until he's got it. You know, it might sound like, you know, we're a bit down. We're not down. We're just focusing on getting things done, because it's not just us that has to sustain this. It's other people that are involved. Now, Emmanuel talks about investors and friends and that type of stuff coming to the party. Do you really think that Emmanuel's going to let them down? No way. So, and I know that for sure. I know that he wouldn't do that. And I can vouch for all of you guys here, you know, for all four of us. We would never do that. And it's the same, not just financially, it's the same mentally. You know, we've said this before in our private WhatsApp group, boys. If you ever feel like it's too much, just give us a call. Let's have a chat. Let's have a virtual hug if we need to, or meet up for a group hug. And, you know, we're all here to help. And that's the way it is.
Yeah. And that is definitely what the team is about, and, you know, having good going. Yeah.
Of course. Absolutely. You know, and I think, you know, we're probably, we're done for time. We don't want to go too far. They say the ultimate podcast lasts for, I don't know, a few minutes, and we've got a few minutes more. But we never follow the rules, right? So let's wrap things up. So if you want to contact us and know more about gladfish.com, get in touch with Brett if you're looking at investing into off-plan properties. He's got properties all around the world. Or if you just want something managed by Brett and his team, get in touch, gladfish.com. You can also get a hold of Brett there if you're looking at any training courses on what he offers and what he's been doing for 25 years. You got myself, Jimmy London. If you want to get in touch about HMOs or developments or serviced accommodations or even apart hotels, let us know. Sadly, I don't train people about children's nurseries. That's something my wife will do. So that, just find us at wealthandsuccessacademy.com. Emmanuel Ezekiel at the moment, sadly, is not taking on any mentorship program simply because at the moment he's focusing on self-preservation and looking after things. And we're doing the same thing, to be fair. We're not doing anything face-to-face for our own safety and for your safety. But get in touch. Even if you want to ask a question, find us all over Facebook, Gladfish on Facebook, Brett Allegra Wood on Facebook, Instagram, myself, Wealth and Success. You can find us everywhere. If you don't want to find us, just block us on those channels and we'll never bother you. But boys, listen, Brett, thanks, mate, for taking the time on a Friday night in Singapore.
No.
Thanks, Jimmy and Sunny Whitstable. Thanks, Emmanuel, and your penthouse. Mate, let me know how it all goes. I'm sure you'll let us know on the group. And thanks for our mate, Chris Denman, for setting all this up as normal. So for me, Ashley Bamford, and the rest of the crew, I wish you all the best through these torrid times.
Cheers, guys.
See you soon.
Well done, boys. See you. Bye.